Howdy folks, and welcome to another episode of YMS versus the Internet. On today's episode we're going to talk about Aquaman and different people the Internet has pitted against him. So let's jump right into it. First off, we've got Aquaman versus Superman. Alright. Superman's been a popular one on this show. Let's see what Superman has to do against Aquaman. Alright, this guy posts, in a fight, who would win, Superman or Aquaman? Aquaman is in his current version with the water hand. The fight takes place on a beach. I think Aquaman will beat him because being that they are both in the Justice League, Aquaman knows Superman is vulnerable to kryptonite. Your opinions? Alright, the post below that seems to be a comic strip. The one below that, Superman goes through him like butter. I somewhat agree with that. The Atlanteans are somewhat more dense than most humans are, and just because they live underwater is really the explanation for that. But it doesn't really matter because as Superman, he could just tear through him. Really, there's no match there. The one below that, I would assume a current version would mean New 52 rather than Aquaman Volume 4, Issue 29. I, however, haven't followed Aquaman series in New 52, so I'm assuming the current version has the water hand. And the water hand doesn't really matter in this instance because it's not something that's going to be able to damage Superman in most instances at all. And the previous post before that, when he was talking about kryptonite, there's no real way that Aquaman's going to have any amount of kryptonite that's going to give him a measurable hand in this fight. So really this is still something that's going to fall mostly on Superman, considering that he doesn't have any weaknesses compared to Aquaman. Now let's go to the next post. This person responds, but really what's the difference? This pic was just used as a joke, much like the thread is a joke and wasn't thought through. We all know who's going to win, and it ain't King Fish Sticks. I somewhat agree with this person because, yes, Aquaman is an incredibly intelligent person. He's got a lot going for him. He's strong, but he's outclassed by Superman in almost every way. The only thing that Superman can't do is have telepathic powers, but Aquaman just isn't strong enough telepathically to really overcome Superman. Also, Superman has 3 different mental blocks put on him by different wizards, so he's not easy to get at anyways. And he's not necessarily marine-based also. A lot of it, for at least Aquaman's abilities, his telepathic abilities, he's able to affect anybody who has somehow evolved from the ocean. So in DC Comics, they go from the standpoint that everything evolved over time, and as everything has come out of the ocean, he has an ability over anything that has somehow evolved from the ocean. And that's not the case with Superman, because he's straight up an alien. We're not going to get anywhere with a telepathic argument for his sake. So, going into my opinion, in the battle between Aquaman and Superman, I'm going to have to give this battle to Superman. So let's go ahead and go down on the list. Next on the list we have Namor. I was actually expecting Namor to be on this list because Namor is the exact opposite of Aquaman, except for just in Marvel Comics. Both of them are the kings of Atlantis. They both have stronger skin, denser bodies, can communicate with fish, can breathe underwater, you name it. They're just mirror images of each other. The one real difference between the two of them is that Aquaman has a telepathic power, whereas Namor really doesn't. Aquaman's telepathic powers at times can even rival Martian Manhunter, so there's a huge difference between the two characters. Let's see what these people have to say. I suggest this goes in another section. Putting it here could be biased from Aquaman's fans who don't care for Namor. It doesn't really matter. Biases are involved in all things. The next person says Aquaman definitely. There's really no definitive way to say to either one, although I do believe that Aquaman has a slight advantage. The next person says, responding to Aquaman definitively, or definitely, reasons why, any particular scans you want to post up on the thread depicting his strength level? No scan is irrelevant, he says. The next person, I think that Namor is stronger in terms of brute force. I would agree with that. But Aquaman could probably still win in a fight. This is true. And again, the person asking for valid credentials. Go to the next one. Oh, someone posted a nice little comic strip here. Lesson point has no speed, which is birthright. Blah, 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 blah. It's Namor. He caught the ship in his bare hands. Yeah, well, yeah, I do believe that Namor is stronger. Namor has gone toe-to-toe with Hulk several times, and there is that one instance where Namor actually did defeat the Hulk. So I would give the strength to Namor. However, I do believe that Aquaman is vastly faster than Namor, especially in the water. He's about 3 times faster than Namor. I don't exactly remember the numbers behind their speeds, But I do recall that Aquaman does have a vast speed advantage over Namor. So if they get in the water, it'd be almost impossible for Namor to even hit him. Let's see, this person says, I agree Namor has a brute strength advantage, but Aquaman beats him with speed, enhanced strength, and telepathy. This person's talking the same game I am. Alright, so we're going to fall back on my opinion for this. In the end of this game, I believe that Aquaman is going to win this. Not only does he have incredibly powerful telepathy over Namor, which Namor will fall for because he evolves from the sea, but he's just not fast enough to hit Aquaman with any of his attacks. Granted that he is more powerful than him. So in the grand scheme of things, I'll give this battle to Aquaman. Moving on, next person on the list is Thor. Man, I love it when Thor comes on these videos because he's my whooping boy. I love beating up on Thor, even though sometimes I do give him the match win. So we have Aquaman versus Thor. That's a beautiful picture of Aquaman, if I have to say. Really nice. Oh, and there's a really good picture of Thor, too. It's really cool. Fight takes place on a beach, of course. Aquaman has his trident, Thor has Mjolnir. Morals off. No BFR, who wins? The person first response says Thor one-shots him. This is actually entirely true because Thor has the ability to shatter planetoids. And there's not really much that Aquaman can do against that. Aquaman could probably get in the ocean and be speedy and whatnot, but here's the problem with that. Thor can track things moving at light speed. Thor doesn't always move himself at light speed, but he can always track things at light speed. He has that type of kinetic vision. So no matter how fast Aquaman goes, Thor will be at least able to hit him or see that he's traveling towards him in some sort of aggressive maneuver. The next person says Thor with one shot, so he agrees with the person above him. And the next person, Thor, says Thor easily. Now, you would obviously think in a Pokemon scenario that lightning beats water, and this is entirely true, but let's talk about water and its conductive abilities, conductive properties actually. The only reason why water is able to conduct electricity at all is because of the minerals that exist within it. So if I was to somehow introduce a bolt of electricity to water, it can only travel between the minerals that are within the water. That's why it's conductive. But if somehow Aquaman was to manipulate the water to where it was to expel all of its minerals and become absolutely pure, and I mean in its most basic form, pure, it wouldn't be able to conduct electricity at all. And I believe that Aquaman would be able to do that, albeit it takes some time, and he's probably not going to be able to use it very well in combat. There is a way in which you can make water not conduct electricity. So I don't think that would give him an advantage, but it's a possibility. Otherwise, yes, lightning will fry this fish dick. Fish dick. Alright. No, it wouldn't. Thor would absolutely destroy Aquaman. I'm tempted to call it spite, seeing as how Aquaman has no way of winning. Yeah, it appears everyone has their marks for Thor. So we're going to drop back to my opinion. In the water, a lot of this really goes to Aquaman in terms of speed and strength. But the thing is, Thor is just really built to take on tanky characters. As an Asgardian, he himself is also really dense. And actually, he's 3 times more dense than the average human. So he's got more constitution than Aquaman does. He probably has more strength too, considering he's got the belt given to him by the gods that magnifies his strength even further. And he can go into a state called the Warrior Madness, which allows him to extend his stamina across weeks and weeks and possibly months of fighting. So regardless of how fast Aquaman's going, he'll just be able to keep up with them, even if it's at a slower pace. And like I said earlier, the kinetic vision will allow him to track him regardless. And one shot from Mjolnir would probably end him. So in the grand scheme of things, I have to give this fight to Thor. Alright guys, in this video we talked about Aquaman. He fought against Namor, Thor, and Superman, and I want to hear what you guys have to think about those different fights. I want to leave your comments in the comment section down below and tell me if my opinions are stupid or if you think I got some validity. And as always, your move, Internet.